गुणातीतोऽक्षरं ब्रह्म भगवान् पुरुषोत्तमः जनो जानन्निदं सत्यं मुच्यते भवबन्धनात्। श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवाननी जय। सियावर रामचंद्र भगवाननी जय। राधा कृष्ण देवनी जय। उमापति महादेवनी जय। प्रमुख स्वामी महाराजनी जय। सर्व संतन की जय। It gives us great pleasure to be amidst all of you here this afternoon. We bring with us the blessings of our spiritual master, Pramukh Swami Maharaj. May the divine and the spiritual energy be always with you in the scientific pursuits that all of you are engaged in. From the Vedic and Upanishadic times, we have had two paths of knowledge: the Paravidya, that is the spiritual knowledge, and Aparavidya, which is the temporal or secular knowledge. And India and its generations have always been enriched and molded by these two paths of knowledge. India's contribution to the world in the field of science and technology is indeed invaluable. The interesting thing is that both these paths, the path of spiritual realization and the path of scientific inquiry, they have blossomed through ancient India without any conflict. They have blossomed with freedom and respect. It is very noteworthy to understand that in India, science and religion has never been in conflict. It is something very, very important to note. And it was in this conducive atmosphere that our great scientific minds and spiritual masters flourished. India's glorious heritage has been shaped by a galaxy of incarnations and knowledgeable people, scientific people. A Chinese writer and philologist, he has praised India's culture and contribution to India. He says, India was China's teacher in religion and imaginative literature, and the world's teacher in trigonometry, quadratic equations, grammar, phonetics, Arabian Nights, animal fables. India inspired Goethe, Herder, Schopenhauer, Emerson, and also Aesop. Since the Vedic period, India's great culture has gifted humanity with a gold mine of discoveries and inventions. India invented the Shunya, without which we would not have been able to express the vastness and smallness of things in our universe. The binary system and computers would not have been possible without the zero. The decimal system is also believed to have originated in India. Based on the references of the Samhitas, experts state that the decimal system existed in India thousands of years ago. The Rishi scientists of India gifted humanity with extraordinary contributions in the fields of spirituality and science. All of you here today, you are also the modern Rishis of India. We are very proud that India has been gifted by such dedicated people in the field of spirituality, in the field of science, and in all aspects of life. Another very important thing to understand is that we should be proud of our country. We should be proud of our culture. We should be proud of the values that we stand for. One vice chancellor in Ahmedabad, he had very rightly said, there is no need for us to import values from abroad. We intrinsically belong to a heritage which has these values of Matru Devo Bhava, Ano Bhadra Kratavo Yantu Vishwataha, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. These values, they are very much an intrinsic part of our DNA. Therefore, we should not try to ape the West. Whatever that is good, that we should definitely adopt and try to integrate it according to our culture. Friends, one very important thing is, we as individuals, we are often swayed by the West. We are overwhelmed. I'm not saying that we should not appreciate, but it is also very important that we should translate things according to the eyepiece of Indian culture. Our reference points, they should be our own cultural values and our own belief systems and ways of investigating things. This is something that we should always bear in mind. And that is why India has a legacy of so many contributions in the field of science and technology. This very conference, the 8th conference, International Conference on Indian Science and Technology. But remember one thing, we must always have our roots in our ancestors. We must be proud of our ancestors, how they worked, the ethics that they had, the spirituality that they had imbibed. All these things, they are the core sources of energy and inspiration and also enlightenment in whatever field that we are pursuing. Mere human knowledge or human brain or our senses, they will only carry you to some extent. We require the spark of the divine to kindle our path towards achieving the ultimate aspects of life. We should never forget this. Somehow, what we are observing is that we only pay lip service to our faith and our culture. We celebrate with food and feasting, thinking that this is our culture. That is not the whole and soul aspect of our culture. It is a lot more profound than what we see, the celebrations that we see outside. We must try to understand and grasp the very core of who we are, what we stand for, and what we want to aim for, and make our country, our people, and the world a better place to live in. So our ancestors, grounding ourselves in our ancestors, it has been said that Albert Einstein used to have the murti of Maharishi Kanad. Kanad, who lived 600 BCE, more than 2,700 years ago. It is believed that Kanad was the founder of the Vaisheshik Darshan, that is philosophy. He revealed the atomic theory 2,300 years before John Dalton. Acharya Shushruta, he was born in 600 BCE. He is acclaimed as a father of surgery. He used 125 surgical instruments, which he himself had devised by observing animals, their jaws, their beaks. And that is how he devised and contrived these medical instruments, 125 instruments, more than 2,700 years back. Not only that, but Shushruta has written in the Shushruta Samhita, he has detailed 300 operations in this encyclopedia of medicine. This was our ancestor, great ancestor Shushruta. Maharshi Bharadwaj, his scientific work called the Yantra Sarvasva describes various types of aerial crafts, information on steering, precautions for long flights. He was a father of aviation in India. Acharya Patanjali, the pioneer of the science of yoga, he described 84 postures to enhance the efficiency of the respiratory system, circulatory, nervous, digestive, and endocrine systems, and other parts of the body. He did not reserve his knowledge only on the physical plane alone, but he also defined yogic principles that would ultimately lead an individual to samadhi and the realization of God. Acharya Charak, popularly known as the father of medicine, Charak Samhita is an encyclopedia of Ayurveda. Ayurveda and yoga, they are now very popular. They are growing in popularity, though it is a very sorry story, not in India, but abroad. So we find that we had such great masters. Aryabhat, he was a brilliant astronomer and mathematician. It was he who proclaimed first that the earth rotates on its axis, that the earth rotates round the sun, and he gave this heliocentric theory 1,000 years before Copernicus declared it to the Western world. This was Aryabhat. Friends, there are many, many such stories. The important thing is that it is very important. Our great Rishi scientists of India were pioneers in many domains of science. Their piety, acumen, and achievements forever remain memorials to their great lives dedicated to peace, progress, and happiness of mankind. The sad part is that much of that ancient scientific knowledge has lost its continuity and presence due to the destruction of invaders, desire by some to keep it secret, accidents of history, neglect, and wars between rival kingdoms in India. The current generation is facing a barrier to reach out to this knowledge due to the limited availability and access to such resources. The ancient languages and style of expression, the approach to the subjects, all of which are in contrast to the present-day system of expression or understanding. Friends, our knowledge, it was encapsulated in our Shastras, through our mantras, through archaeological findings that we are able to unearth today. There are so many things, but there is also an oral tradition as well. These traditions, they may seem strange to the modern scientific mind. Let me tell you, an interesting thing is that spirituality and science, as I had mentioned earlier, even in spirituality there is scientific inquiry. The story of Nachiketa and Yamraja, it has been very nicely and beautifully described in the Kathopanishads. But just imagine a 9-year-old boy at the doorstep of Yamraja. And Yamraja is trying to entice that young boy with fame, riches, and worldly pleasures. But see, this young boy, the very epitome of what India and Hinduism is all about. This very young boy, Nachiketa, he throws back questions to Yamraja. And he asks that whatever that you are offering to me, will it give me happiness in life? He is trying to discard, he is challenging what Yamraja is trying to offer to him. This is the scientific inquiry and the method that we have been seeing in the field of science. Spirituality is also wedded to rationality and to transcendence. It is important to note that the current generation is facing a barrier in reaching out to this knowledge. Because of limited availability, access to such resources, the ancient languages and the style of expression used, the approach to the subjects, all of which are in contrast to the present-day system of expression or understanding. With the help of traditional scholars with modern bent of mind, and modern scientists open to knowledge systems, we can rediscover and reinstate our glorious heritage for the happiness and liberation of mankind. The crux is that hard work, unbiased inquiry, and a profound faith in God. These three things will definitely carve out a better future for not only for India, but also for the world. Today, friends, first of all, I would like to congratulate the organizers, the Infinity Organization and the Indus University, Sri Rajivji Malhotra, who is a very, very fine scholar, a very bold scholar. Let me tell you that he is in fact the embodiment of pride and asmita. Satyam eva jayate. Truth should prevail. The dedication, I think that he is also a saint because he has dedicated his life in bringing out Hinduism, the Hindu culture, India's glorious culture, in its pristine glory. Wherever there is success, wherever there is glory, you will also find people who want to pull down that glory. And it is important for us as professionals that we must rebut these challenges that are there before us. They must be done with rationality. They must be done in a spirit of spiritual as well as scientific inquiry. Because spiritual strength will sustain the individual. Rationality, you can source some strength from rationality. But spirituality and God, He is the source of infinite strength. So it seems that Rajivji, he has taken the path of renunciation and dedication in unearthing the beauty and glory of what India was and is today, and challenging the inquiries of people who do not understand what India is all about. It is indeed a very, very great service that he is doing for our country and for our culture. Another very important thing is that we should also take that cue from him. And I think we should also take cue from so many distinguished delegates here who have presented their papers with so much dedication, with years of efforts behind what they have presented. We should also take that inspiration with us, the youngsters especially. And with that inspiration, I am sure no challenge would pose any hindrances or any obstacles on our goal in achieving what we have decided to. I would like to thank, as I said, the organizers. I would like to thank all of you here today. For 3 days you have been assembling and you have been sharing your thoughts, your researches. You too have also taken a path of renunciation. Some of you have dedicated your lives 25 years, 30 years behind one project. This requires a lot of stamina, let me tell you. And I would like to offer my kudos, my appreciations and acknowledgements to all of you here today. Thank you, all of you. Our Guruji, Pramukh Swamiji, he is 93 years of age, but we have also found in him, we also find in him that he too has always taken steps in conjunction with times and technology. The beautiful temples that he has been building, they are islands of character, of faith and service to society. These temples are not only places where bells are rung and the deities are offered worship, but these temples, they are the molding places for the young children and the new generation that we see today. If we do not expose our children to our culture and to our values, friends, you are going to lose them. It is very important. Our mandirs, our shastras, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita. I think the Prime Minister, he has given us an impetus, a sense of pride by gifting the Bhagavad Gita to some of the great statesmen and Prime Ministers of India. I think probably Hindus, which is a very open-ended religion, which respects all cultures, which has invited people from all countries without any discrimination. We should be proud of that. And therefore, our tradition of mandirs, shastras, and saints, and great scientific sages, they should always be revered and they should always be respected. Because if we fail to convey and disseminate this knowledge to our young generation, all we will have is an Indian without a Hindu soul. So it is very important. A psychologist in America, he had rightly shared with us when we were there a few years back. He said that Swamiji, in the West, when an Indian boy or girl grows up, the boy or girl is exposed to Western symbols. Instead of seeing a mandir shikhar, the boy is seeing a Christian spire, the church of a spire. Instead of celebrating Diwali and New Year's Day, Holi and Krishna Janmashtami, he is exposed to Christmas and the English New Year's Day. The language is English. Our boys and girls, they tend to forget our native vernacular language. It is very important. We need to convey ourselves in English and other languages, but we should never forget our native language. Therein lies the culture and spirit of our traditions. So this guy, he told us that, Swamiji, it is very important to take our children to India. Expose them to the soil and smell of India. Expose them to the traditions and festivals and rituals of India. Friends, don't think that rituals are boring. They are a part of our intrinsic elevation towards the divine and towards happiness. It is something very, very interesting that he shared with us. Therefore, by practicing our culture, by practicing our religion, and by pursuing in our secular paths, I think this is the holistic message of Indian culture. Thank you very much, all of you. And once again, our spiritual master, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, he has conveyed his blessings upon all of you and upon the very great enterprise that the Infinity Foundation and the Indus University has entered upon in disseminating our culture to the youths and students of today. This is indeed a very big step, and that too with the stamp of the academic world. This is very important. Having that stamp of academia, that carries the authenticity and the credibility that is required by others to accept. I pray to Bhagavan Swami Narayan, to all the incarnations, to His Divine Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj, that may he bless all of us here today to carry forth our work for the happiness, harmony, and joy, not only in our own lives, but for India and for the world. Thank you very much.